It's what?
5:05.
What time did we start?
5:20. 4:20-ish.
So I've got 5 minutes.
Yes.
Go. Wow.
You want debater, you can do it.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. This last piece of information then, I'm just going to move on.
It's the most important one, man.
Oh no, it's important. How many of you have judged a debate? Right. How many of you judged the debate while you're sitting in extension? How many of you judge the top half? As in, sit there and actually say, as a judge, someone who has judged in the past, when you're debating in third, who is winning this debate at the moment? And why? Right now, in my view, as a judge, when I look at the material on the page, who do I think is winning? Because after the first two speeches, it should be clear what the dividing line is. There is still at least 14 minutes, if not 21 minutes, until you stand up and speak. There are some questions, therefore, that you can ask yourself. One, as a judge, what feedback would I give to these teams? And how, because then that's going to give you an idea of what's missing from your side. So, was their analysis under-analysed? Were there too many assertions? Did they say something that was just a lie? And then you do the comparison of the teams, because then you get to make a strategic decision. If your second prop and first prop has beaten first op, I don't really need to spend much time engaging with first op. If that is my true view, I only need to spend maybe a minute and a half on first op and say, look, first opposition are in trouble in this debate because we believe first proposition did an excellent job of rebutting this argument and this argument. Obviously, I still need to respond to this new argument, do it really quickly, and then you give yourself more time to do the really detailed step-by-step process, which you're clearly going to have to do to beat first prop. If first op have beaten, in your view, first prop, if the first prop case is a steaming pile of turd at that point, you really believe that you've lost, your side rather, you need to spend about 3 minutes in a very detailed way destroying the first op case in second prop. You spend less time on the extension because your problem isn't first prop anymore. They've already been beaten by first op. All you need to do, realistically, is attack the strong team and then come up with something like slightly novel, and you should be at least guaranteed a second if you do that correct. And then obviously second op, you see what happens. But if first op were that good, and if you can beat first op, you know second op are going to struggle to come up with an extension case because first op have already said quite a lot. So you need to always be judging the top half of the debate wherever you're sitting on the bottom half and talking with your partner. The final thing, apart from just who beat who, is why at the moment is one side beating the other. What is the key issue in the debate? This corresponds to both, they took a different direction to the one that you expected, because at that point you'll see what that led to. Did it lead to the top half by taking that different direction? Are they, in your view, losing as a result of that decision? If so, you try to subtly move away from that direction. The last thing I say will be about knifing, do not worry, and then you can ask questions about that. It's also to do with the too narrow. Can someone give me an example of what you mean by something was too narrow on the top half? Because that's the only one which I can't really deal with because I don't know exactly what you mean.
Earlier this year, in the Israel National Championship, one of the motions was this House believes that Obama's government is bad for Israel.
Yeah.
And one person was talking about, I don't remember exactly, but one of his specific policies that included Israel. And they kept it all in that motion.
Okay, well, you can make broader statements on the second half, and you can say, well, clearly that one policy is very important, and we think that that policy should be repealed. We're going to give you one extra reason for that. We also think, though, that that one policy is indicative of a wider malaise that's, so it's representative of something in the Obama administration which is damaging to Israel, and we're going to talk about how that malaise, you very subtly move beyond. You don't knife, but you say, You expand. If something's too narrow in life, I tend to expand it. Like, that's like what I'll do.
That's legitimate?
I think it's legitimate, yes. It'll change from debate to debate instead. If the debate has been really clearly like about that one policy and whether or not we should repeal that one policy, then I don't think you can. But if that one policy is being used as an exemplar, then of course I should expand all over the place. I'm afraid in 1 hour that I cannot give you a rule of like what's knifing and what's not. What I will say is this. On the opposition side, and this was the guidance that we gave at the World Championships, both William Jones and I are of the view that you can move away further from your top half team than you can if you were on the proposition side. The proposition side should be viewed as a coalition government, so they have differing reasons for the same policy. The opposition side is just like a loose set of opposition parties. They can have widely diverging reasons which might even contradict one another. You don't really want to contradict too much, because then Prop can stand up and say, make up your mind as a side, but you certainly can move away further. I can't give you clues as to exactly when you can widen a debate, but you'll know. I'm sure you know those times. If the debate is just about one policy, you know that you probably at that point can't say, well, let's talk about this other policy. Most of the time. In that case, it's just unfortunate. You then need to do all of this work on that one policy.